everybody, it's Sherry Shrallow coming to you from my kitchen. I've missed all of you. It's been a long time since I've done one of my cooking demos. I spent a whole month out in beautiful California with my daughter, son-in-law, and my brand new grandbaby Zoe, helping them out as they get used to parenthood, and it was just wonderful. So I'm back, and I received this recipe from a friend of mine, John Gagliardi, and he gave me a little batch that was frozen, and he said, try this on some pasta. So we did, and Dale and I really liked it, didn't we, Dale? Mm-hmm. It's really delicious. It's called the Best Vegan Bolognese Sauce, and it's created by Shane Martin, who has a website, shaneandsimple.com. I love his recipes, and I'll tell you why. They are simple, they are flavorful, and they are really healthy. He uses no oil, which is the way you know I cook, and they're just delicious. So this is a keeper. So I want you to know, before I do any of my classes, I check out only the best recipes, because there's so much on the internet that you could be trying things all the time. So I want to make sure that they're excellent so that you don't have any failures in your kitchen like we've had over the years when I've had to test all of these recipes. So let's get started. Now this is a recipe that I had to do something ahead of time. And so this is what I did. Let me show you. Can you see this pan over here? Doesn't that in a way look like a meat sauce? But guess what? It's not. What I did a little while before I got online was I took one medium cauliflower head and I chopped it up, 3/4 cups of walnuts chopped up, 4 ounces of mushrooms chopped up, 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, 1 tablespoon garlic powder, 1 tablespoon onion powder, 1 tablespoon balsamic vinegar, and 3 tablespoons of Bragg liquid aminos, or you can use a low sodium soy sauce. I put all of those ingredients in this food processor, and I put it on pulse because I didn't want it to get mushy. And as you can see, it looks a little chunky, which is the way it's supposed to. And all you do then is stick it in the oven on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and cook it for 15 minutes at 400, and let's see, it was pretty high heat as I recall. Yeah, at 375 degrees. And after 15 minutes, I flipped it around like this and put it back in for another 15 minutes. And voila, there we go. So I just want to tell you a little bit about why I do these cooking classes. So as most of you know, I am on the board of directors of Plant-Based Nutrition Movement here in Chicago. And we on the board have been working very hard during the pandemic to come up with what we feel is a mission statement that expresses to you why we're doing what we're doing. So I'd like to practice reading our new mission statement, our sort of medium-sized mission statement. We have 3 of them, but I'll do the medium-sized one. Tell me what you think. At Plant-Based Nutrition Movement, we are dedicated to providing communities with resources that support the eradication of chronic diseases while helping create a healthier planet through the wonders of a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. And I think that really says it. So let's get cooking. So what I had to do now in this recipe, once this is finished, I'm going to be working on what's in the frying pan. So I took 1 onion and 2 cloves of garlic, and I diced them, and I put them in this pan with a little bit of water, because we don't use oil to saute, we use just a drop of water. And Chef Del Sroof, who is the author of the China Study cookbook and Forks Over Knives cookbook, told me about how to saute with water. You use very, very little, a teeny amount, because you don't want it to get soggy. And these things, like our onions, they just give off water when you're sauteing them. So I've done these for a few minutes before we came on live so that we could get to the rest of the recipe. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pour in 1 cup of red wine. Ooh, that looks good, doesn't it? And we're going to let this reduce. So you're supposed to let this reduce for about 5 minutes. So while it's reducing, I'll keep stirring, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the coronavirus pandemic that we're in right now, and why it's even more important now to be eating a whole food plant-based diet.
So when was it? Last Tuesday, I went down into the city to have a follow-up appointment with my cardiologist, Dr. Kim Williams. Many of you know Dr. Williams. He is a world-renowned cardiologist who is a former president of the American College of Cardiology. And we had a good talk, because as we always do, about research and benefits of eating this way, the whole food plant-based diet.
And by the way, he's the head of cardiology at Rush Hospital in downtown Chicago. And I do believe that he has about, Dale, correct me if I'm wrong, is it about 19 other cardiologists who are now totally plant-based and teaching their patients how to prevent and reverse heart disease, just as he does. But you know, we were talking about the pandemic, and he asked me, Sherry, do you know any plant-based eaters who have gotten this virus? And I stopped and I thought for a minute, and I said, you know, I really don't know anyone that's had it. Maybe a friend of mine had a really bad cough in January, and she was pretty sick, but you know, she got over it. But no, I haven't heard of anyone. And so he was telling me about some research that they're doing now at Rush to try and figure out, you know, how do people who eat plant-based fare during a pandemic? And so far, you know, I think we come out really well. When we do get it, it's a much milder form. Our immune systems are so good because of our healthy eating habits and not putting any poisonous animal foods into our body, that we are really sort of primed to do the best at fighting off any kind of invasion from any kind of a virus. So it doesn't mean that we don't get it. Of course we do. It's very contagious. But thankfully, it seems that we don't end up in hospitals and on ventilators. So that led to our conversation then about, you know, who is getting the virus. And as most of us do know, it's people who are at risk, who have chronic conditions. But what the underlying condition that he was telling me about, that trumps being of a different group, so let's say that you're African American, and let's say you're Latino, and we know that those groups have higher incidences of the coronavirus and much more serious cases and many more deaths. And it's not because people are African American or because they are Latino, it's because of their diet. So if you're not eating a healthy diet and you are overweight, then that virus loves you because it has a tendency to really increase your viral load as it attaches to fat in certain parts of the body. So we know that eating plant-based, we stay pretty trim and very trim because, you know, we're not putting all those foods into our body that cause us to be overweight in the first place. So just food for thought. You know, I'm always encouraging my friends to give it a try. What do you have to lose, right? I mean, there are no side effects from eating plants. There's only good effects, and that is that you can reverse chronic diseases like my heart disease. I totally got rid of my heart disease eating this way. You can also get off of your, or reduce your diabetes medications if you're type 2 diabetic. It helps prevent and reduce symptoms with autoimmune diseases and, of course, certain cancers. So I think I talked enough, and I think we've reduced this down pretty good. So you can hardly see the wine now. Now, this is it. This is all we're going to do. So our very next step is going to be to add the rest of the ingredients. So we're going to put in 1 big can of crushed tomatoes. And I try and get organic products whenever possible because I don't want any chemicals on my foods. So I'm going to put this in. And this is no salt. So this is salt-free, which I really like. I got that in Whole Foods. And then I'm going to put in 1 can of fire-roasted diced tomatoes. You don't have to use fire-roasted, but I think they really enhance the flavor of this dish. Okay. Then I'm going to measure out 1 tablespoon of this organic maple syrup. So again, very low in sugar. We don't want to add a lot of sugar into our diet. That causes inflammation. It really does increase blood pressure numbers. We don't want that either. Here's a little bit, a tablespoon of just Italian seasonings. There we go. And then all you do is you let this cook for about 15 to 20 minutes. Let it simmer. Just like that. Isn't that beautiful? This is such a wonderful recipe. Now you can serve it over any kind of pasta. Remember, don't use white pasta because that's just like eating sugar. You want whole grains, so you want to have like a whole wheat pasta. You can eat chickpea pasta, brown rice pasta, anything like that. You can even get a spaghetti squash, and actually, let me show you that. I did that today. I made a spaghetti squash because my friend Meryl Fury gave it to me. I'll show you what it looks like as it cooked down, and I put it into this container. So take a look at this. Let me get a fork over here. I'll take a fork out so you can see it. Whoops, let me turn the sauce down. We don't want it to cook too fast. We just want to simmer it. So check this out. Isn't that beautiful? It is so delicious. Just throw this on a plate and you can put the sauce on top. Now, do you know how to make this, guys? All you have to do is take one big spaghetti squash, cut it lengthwise down the middle, turn it upside down so that the flat side is laying on a baking sheet that you've lined with parchment paper. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees, throw it in there, and how long did we bake it for? About an hour? About an hour or so. I bake it for about an hour, and then you can take the seeds out once it's cooked, and then this is what you're left with, this beautiful, beautiful pasta-like thing that you can put your sauce over. Okay, so we haven't let this cook for 15 to 20 minutes, but I'll just go ahead to the next step. And then one other thing you should know is that you can freeze this. Look at this. I've got a whole batch that I've already frozen. So we're going to be going to see our grandchildren in Ohio soon, so I will be able to take one of these with me. All right, so all we're going to do now is we're going to take what we call our little sauce, this little concoction we made that was with the cauliflower and the mushrooms and all that, and I'm going to add it into the sauce. Just add it in just like this. Get my spoon a little easier. And we're going to stir it in, and we'll let it all simmer together, I think. That's what we're going to do today. We'll go a little out of order. And I will put this recipe on my Facebook page, so that you can see it. And maybe you'll try it for dinner tonight. Look at that. Is that amazing? How pretty that is. I mean, if you didn't know better, you would think you were eating like a meat sauce, but it is meaty because of the mushrooms and the cauliflower. It's delicious. And that is really all you have to do. So we're going to let this simmer up. I'm going to turn down the heat really low. Turn it down. And I'll let it simmer. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, just write to me. I'll be happy to answer them. And if anyone is interested in needing some help in making this transition to a whole food plant-based diet, I'm here for you. Give me a shout out and we'll get to work together. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.